Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another manga review. We're looking at Tomie by Junji Ito today, and this is a really odd manga because it has this supernatural entity called Tomie who exists in a lot of different people, and she is somebody who drives anybody who sees her and falls in love with her to murder, and she's often the victim, which is the funny thing. She's a very supernatural entity, so she has very abnormal healing abilities. Like, for example, there are lots of scenes, especially at the end of the manga, where she has cuts from knives on her face and they just instantly grow back. And there's one really funny scene where we have that really mad model who had, well, he was an egomaniac, and Tomie told him he wasn't beautiful, and then she made his face more ugly than anything could ever be. And basically, when he had murdered Tomie, there were, well, Tomie's had grown out of Tomie's wound. Basically, this manga is absolutely ridiculous. It was a lot more supernatural than I was expecting. I was just expecting some sort of psychological story like, oh, I don't know, just something that doesn't have many indications of the supernatural. But I'm honestly happy it did, because that adds another layer of a layer to the story that I think is really quite nice, and it makes it unique. I think the first time I really realised just how cool the supernatural elements were going to be done in this story was when we saw the kidney transplant in the beginning of the story, and Tomie quite literally growing out of a kidney. I mean, I kind of like how this story, it has a lot of visual horror, but then it also has a lot of horror with showing just how far somebody like Tomie can push people. I mean, it's natural because obviously, like, Tomie pushing somebody really far is natural because it's just kind of the effect that she has on people. I mean, God, what a horrible way to die, or, I don't know, be put in prison. Just seeing Tomie and then her making you completely insane. And I think the most morbid story in this entire part was the one with the kid, where Tomie totally manipulated the kid, and then obviously he became a criminal at the end of his life, and then he probably had a life. Well, no, I think he was death sentenced. I swear it was by lead poisoning, but I don't know. Yeah. Basically, this is a very dark set of manga stories. It's just a set of mini stories rather than one full story, which, if I'm going to be honest, I was kind of expecting at the beginning, but I'm happy it was a lot of mini stories, because there's a lot of little situations where you can just see what Tomie can do, basically. It's very dark, and Tomie is the most ruthless asshole you will ever meet. I mean, my God. I think, particularly in the end of the manga, I think it was really interesting seeing Ayaka just totally manipulate Yasuko and making it so that it just feels as if she has totally owned her, because of the fact that she has found the house. She has found a rich house, which obviously she's made everybody die in, and then she's gone to the house and she's just basically enslaved Yasuko. I mean, and she has obviously no remorse on doing it. And there are so many times where, especially in the beginning of the story as well. I mean, I remember one of the first things I was thinking when I began reading the manga is just how cruel Tomie was. Why was she doing any of the really awful acts to completely separate relationships? What was in it for her? Why? There were some stories as well in the manga that, I mean, obviously you have the ending story, where you have the ending story, but there's also another set of there's another mini story that consists of multiple chapters in the beginning, and if I'm going to be honest, I think I like the stories, but sometimes I found them a bit hard to follow. But at the same time, though, I think sometimes with these stories it feels like appreciating the horror and just what Junji Ito can do artistically rather than the story, so I didn't really mind too much. But yeah, anyway, there's also, I just want to now talk about some stories I found really quite cool in this, just in general in the manga. I think some of the stories that were, a lot of the psychological stories were really quite unusual. The Little Finger story, especially, that was really cool. We see the rich family, and then you see the ugly kid who's totally bullied, and you see Tomie, out of everybody, try to manipulate him, and well, obviously then the posh kids kill Tomie, and they just entrust the duty to the younger kid, obviously, because they have no moral conscience of their own, and they're crazy because of Tomie as well. Yeah, Tomie makes people absolutely deranged. Can I just mention that? I mean, I probably have already implied it a lot, but I just wanted to fully state that she makes people absolute. Well, if you see Tomie, you will not be yourself afterwards, basically. It's a horrible. She is the worst person to see. There are some stories that are so funny. I mean, I think the ones that are most memorable to me are I forgot which chapter it was, but the alcohol one where wait, okay, the story's called Moromi, and basically they dispose of Tomie's body in a brewery, and then things become really quite odd when it's as if essences of her existence become really quite apparent in the mixture. I mean, what's the best example? Yeah, this one here. I mean, my god, that's a really good example. And oh my god, and this, there are so many weird parts to this manga that they just create some of the most unbelievably unusual and fantastical settings. This is a good example. I forgot what the chapter was called, but the village chapter as well, with it's kind of like a river of Tomie's, and you go in the river, you are never going to come out again because you will quite literally be eaten by them. It's kind of like Tomie piranhas. And oh yeah, the painter story was really cool. The babysitter story was weird, and as I mentioned before, that kid story was absolutely morbid. Oh yeah, the mansion story was cool as well. There was one I wanted to talk about. I can't remember which one it was, but the story where the lover, well, somebody is not fazed by Tomie, but I think it's Gathering, but they're not fazed by Tomie, and then they look at what, everybody goes crazy in the Gathering for Tomie, and then in the end, the lover that he did have, she's just totally replaced, and all of his positive memories with the lover who has passed away, they go just so that the memories of Tomie can be returned, and they are totally replaced with Tomie. Oh, it's really brutal. And also the hair chapter as well. I mean, there are just so many chapters here that are really quite hilarious, and I like how you get really quite brutal. It feels quite psychological, this story. You combine that with supernatural body horror, and just in general, it feels Lovecraftian as well. I can't deny it. I mean, it does say that, yeah, it does say in the about the author page that one of his inspirations was Lovecraft, just on the bottom right there. But sorry, my webcam is awful. But yeah, I hope you see what I mean. So that was Tomie. I really enjoyed this manga overall, and I'm excited to read the next one as well, because this one looks actually way weirder than anything I've read before. It's called Gyo, and this is the last part of the Uzumaki trilogy that I need to read. Oh god, this one, I don't know what to expect, but from what I've seen, it really feels like it's going to be, I don't know, just supernatural to an extent that we've never really seen before. This body horror, I can expect body horror, I can expect terror. I don't know what the story's going to be about, but I'm sure we'll find out. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy my little discussion of Tomie. If I'm going to be honest, I think that I love the fact that mangas like these have short stories and they have it all over one theme. But what I kind of don't like, I find it really hard to retain these short stories, and apart from the ones that I like the most. So it's a bit difficult to discuss stuff like this sometimes. It's just because there's so many mini stories rather than one big story, so it's just a bit harder to retain. But anyway, despite that, I hope you guys enjoyed my discussion, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one when we're going to be talking about Gyo.